Welcome to the Unsidelined Life, the podcast that challenges and encourages women to stop denying themselves a full life and to step boldly into the opportunities God is preparing for you. Join me for raw insights and engaging conversations to guide your journey of self-discovery and pursue the life that God created for you. Welcome to the Unsidelined Life. You're seeing a lot of orange, so I'm even distracted by it. I'm Eileen Noyes, your host. I have a special guest with me, a man, as you can see. No, he's not a woman. He's very much a man. And I know this is going to be fun, which I need. So just giving you a little background. I've been at the DMV for about 4.5 hours. So this podcast is even a little bit late. But the perfect guest to have is someone like Devin Schubert. So a little background on how I even knew about him. So we somehow are in just like the same group, same connections here and there. So I'd see this guy in orange, Alyssa Ron, Summer Day, I just knew. Tamara Jackson is another one. I'm like, okay, who's this guy in orange? So we finally and only met probably a couple months ago, but it feels like I've known him forever. So this is the man in orange. And this is why I'm in orange. So that I don't know. I think I'm getting this vibe where I want to match my guests and see his smile. Like it just lights me up because seriously, it was just a total stressful day. But okay. And so props to my 100X community because it's the only reason why we even have orange. And thank God, Devin, because if I didn't have to use this, it would have probably been a one-time use. And that's it. But okay, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to say. Okay, yeah. So the whole thing with the man guest, and I didn't want you to see this when I sent you the notes. But so I had Adam Brusa, who's my first guest, amazing man, and his name obviously is like the first man.
Yeah,
Adam, first man. I looked up your name just out of curiosity, and so Devin, the first thing that popped up was poet, which I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. And then also beloved of God. I have a beloved of God. It's Jedediah. But I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So did you know that about yourself?
I did know that.
Okay.
I've had people share with me meaning of names before. And so, yeah, they've shared that with me. It's really cool.
Awesome. Very cool. Okay. Well, hey, you have the stage. I'd love to hear because this is all about you today, but just, intro who you are, kids, all those things.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you a little bit about what I've been doing here in the last 3 years, and then we can kind of work backwards. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been stepping out as a full-time entrepreneur for the last 3 years. I had gotten rid of everything. I had lost everything in a traumatic event, and we'll get to that in a little bit. And God brought this opportunity in front of me. And of course, with a lot of things, it comes with an investment. And I said, God, I don't have money to do that. And he said, well, I want you to sell your trailer in order to be a part of that. And I'm like, that trailer you told me was for ministry to help abused women and families, mostly was women, but abused people get out of their homes and move them into a shelter. And I said, God, that's for the ministry. And he said, no, you're the ministry. And I was like, wow. Okay. So I sold my trailer, put in full to be able to join this, to be able to start as an entrepreneur, as a coach. Within the first 30 days, I had made my money back. Within 90 days, I had doubled my money. Within the first year of being a part of that, I was a runner-up coach of the year. I had been on an entrepreneurial TV show, reality TV show, as one of the number one startups in the nation. Over the last 2 years then, I've hit 6 figures over each of the last years. Won a sword award with one of the academies that I'm a part of. Was welcomed back into an entrepreneurial reality TV show again as the number one startup. And this last year, I had a BHAG, which is a big, hairy, audacious goal, and that was to get on 100 stages in 1 year. A pretty much impossible endeavor unless you put your mind to it. And so by September, I was able to do that. And God has just been doing a lot of amazing things. But all those things, like many of your listeners and like you, there's a lot of accolades and a lot of accomplishments. And ultimately, it's like, who cares? I mean, it's great. What's the real meaning behind it? And for me, I get to be called a father. I gave up everything to be a father. I gave up my life to be a father. And that is the true meaning behind all the things that I've accomplished.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So first of all, it makes me even more honored because like I said, I knew that I know we're in the same groups, but I had no idea all that you've done thus far. Like, wow, like this is like now I feel really like small. So okay. So as you start, well, I would love to hear like, okay, you have how many kids?
I have 3 kids. I have my ex-wife, or when we were married, I adopted her biological daughter, and then 2 adopted boys from foster care.
Okay, and so those 2 adopted were after your divorce?
Nope, we were married at the time.
This is the beauty about you, and the light in you, is that it seems like we've known each other forever. That's the vibe you get. And I will say this, that I've heard that about me too. And so I'm saying that, like, just the whole thing, like I like to give my audience like the flavor of, I've talked about prophetic and things like that. And so to be able to say, yeah, that's what people say about me, and to go, okay, is that me? Is that a good quality? I want to step into that. I appreciate that. I love that. I hear that I'm having an inviting personality, things like that. So I want to step into it because there's something magnetic about it. There's something safe about it. And you, for sure, in your orange, with your smile, your craziness with people they probably will maybe get a little taste of it. There's something about that. And so I can totally see why God is using you. I could totally see that, like, you're doing amazing things. So yeah, I love your heart of that and your love for the Lord. So yes, and I know this is going to be tough stuff, but the whole thing about sharing your story and then doing it in a way that honors Him is, I'd love to get into that with you.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many different aspects of our lives that we tend to push aside. And one of the things that I learned early on as an entrepreneur was that I can have all these different things and I'd never shared them. I never used to share all the accomplishments I've had of planting the 9 churches, 7 churches, starting the 9 ministries, of working with some and traveling with some of the most famous ministers, apostles and prophets all over the place. And I never shared it. I have no videos, no pictures, and nothing, because people always told me, no, you don't share about that. You keep that to yourself. That's bragging, that's boasting. And it was once I jumped into this entrepreneurship, I had somebody really call me out and say, Devin, if you don't tell people who you are and what God's doing in you and through you, then you're prideful. I'm like, whoa, that's like the opposite of the meaning of pride. And this coach said that if you didn't say yes to God, then God would have probably chose somebody else. And so you do get some credit for saying yes to God. And so no matter what we've been through, no matter what we've get to step into next, we said yes. And that means that when I share the accolades, the things that God has done, it comes with a cost. And that cost is an investment that I've put into what God's calling is on my life. And so for each of the listeners, like, you have gone through things and you get to share about that, and you get to brag about that, because the Bible says that I will boast in nothing but the Lord. And so people say, give all glory to God. It's not about me. Wrong. Paul said, yes, it is about me, because I said yes to God. If I say yes to God, I can say yes to other people. So I just wanted to kind of like preface that as a lot of people are listening of their stories, like, be thinking about who you are and how you get to release it to other people.
That's awesome. So awesome. Okay. So with that though, like, in your story, which I don't know, we kind of know each other's story, but not obviously like major detail, or even hardly any detail. And, I think the thing with sharing your story, you're talking about like all the amazing things God has done. It also comes with trials. And through those trials of sharing your story, there's that fine line of, okay, like, what do I share? How do I honor you, God? How do I, because in I think both of our situations, it includes a marriage that fell apart. And how do you do this in a way that honors God, where it's not like bashing or blaming. And so how do you share that? There's a lot of stuff that is involved where, like with book writing and things like that, it's like, well, am I going to say things that will keep me safe too? Like, I mean, legally speaking, there's just a whole lot of dynamics that go into, okay, what am I going to share? So I'd love to hear more about those things.
Yeah, I think when it starts off of understanding what you get to share, it's number one, what's the truth? And I'll share a little bit about the things that I went through with my ex-wife and the things that I found out and how I went through that journey. But ultimately, it starts off with what is the truth of what happened, and what is the aspects of that you can share that will resonate with other people and meet them where they're at. Because there may be some things that I share that are like, nobody really needs to know that detail. It just makes me feel better about myself, ultimately. So it's counting that as a cost. So during my younger years, as I was married, we planted 7 churches and 9 ministries. We recognized how broken the system was, as I was a social worker for 15 years, and saw that my Bible said that the church was supposed to be raising the orphans and the widows. And instead, we're wondering, why do we have a broken system? Well, because it's a system that God didn't create to take care of these people. And so we started a foster care system in the churches and got it legalized across the state of Iowa. I was also a youth pastor and did a lot of traveling with that. And it was during my last youth ministry trip. We went to a Chicago conference for a weekend. And, when you come back from a conference, you're on a spiritual high. You can take on the world. It all feels good until you pull into a driveway and there's a Jeep in the driveway that's not yours. And you walk in the door wondering what the heck is going on. And then you know that somebody snuck out the back and they were caught. So my wife at the time was caught with her boss. And he snuck out the back door, and we had some very tough conversations during that time. I had called her out on it a few times for the last couple of months of like, you're really on your phone a lot more, you're working a lot more, and she denied everything. And so you can imagine the amazing mountaintop spiritual that I was on to, my life is over.
Yeah, for sure.
And
wow.
It was very difficult. And at the beginning, I really struggled sharing my story of like, man, I don't want to tell everybody that she had an affair and that she was with her boss. Like, how degrading. And then the Lord said, why? Like, she made that choice to do that. She gets to own that. Not that she can't, reconcile that or ask for repentance and all that kind of stuff, ask for forgiveness. But ultimately, the truth is the truth. And so that's kind of how I began knowing how to be able to share what I get to share with those things, and recognizing that you admit it, like you were caught, and there's no going back on that.
How long was that process of, getting over it, getting through it, like saying, okay, it's time to share? Man, that was a lot. I mean, I talk about my perspective with the limelight, pro sports and things like that. Like, when I went through my stuff, it's like, oh, this is not private. I wish it was private. As much as I tried to keep it on, the down low, all those things, it was just out there. And so in so many ways, it's like, yeah, you have no control over that. And at the same time, as much as I don't like it, I know that God was even using that. It's like, without me even saying anything, there were just people witnessing, this girl's going through hell, but she's got a smile on her face. She's got joy. And so I didn't realize that was part and the start of the testimony for me. So for you, how was it? Because you're in the church world, which I very much, that's such as much of a limelight as like a pro sports kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was very well known. I was very active in all sports in our entire region. I traveled and did softball and volleyball. And so there was all these different aspects that I was plugged into. And I remember one of the first things that the leadership had told me was that, well, you'll never be in leadership again. you'll never be an elder, you'll never be a leader in the church because you're divorced. Like the Bible clearly says that if you're divorced, like you must be married to one woman. And like that just broke me. I was like, I have given my life to God, planting churches, going to Bible school and all this stuff and saving lives and pouring into these teenagers and these people. And this is how God is going to repay me? Like this doesn't make any sense. And during that time, it was 2 weeks after I found that out, I got connected with this ministry in town. It's just a local couple, and they do what's an inner healing and deliverance ministry. And I had never heard of anything like this, but I was like, whatever, if it's going to work, it's going to work. Like, have at it. And the first time that I met with them, growing up, like I had dreams that came true and stuff like that. So like I understood the spiritual realm, but like the spirit filled realm, no, I had never experienced anything. And so I sat there and we started talking about the different labels, the different things on me that I was starting to believe. And they brought Jesus into this image. And all of a sudden, like I just felt this peace, this joy, like everything was okay. Like I'm going to take care of you is what I felt the Father saying. And if you just trust me, I'm going to take care of you. And I felt this unbelievable freedom. Like these shackles were broken off of me, even though all the pain that was going on around me, it was like I was in this bubble of safety. And I was smiling all the time. And I remember I went home that night. I remember walking down my steps. And the Lord said this to me. He said, you do not get your identity from the creation. You get your identity from the Creator. And so he was just reminding me that even though people were saying, you're divorced, you'll never have that. No, I'm not. I am a saint. I am beloved. The Father loves me. And so I didn't put that badge on my chest saying divorced. No, I said, I'm a king. I'm royalty. Like you can't touch me. And that type of identity shift really helped me right away at the beginning. Not that there was a lot of rough times, but it like really restructured my mindset from the very beginning and helped me so much.
Like that so resonates because I remember thinking that scripture was put on me. It says, if you divorce, you should no longer get married. If you do, you're an adulteress. And I'm thinking like, I didn't do this. Like this sucks. And God had to use scripture. One, I hear you. And I think people, you can hear God like this. Because a lot of people don't. A lot of people go, oh, well, you hear God like that. And, that's not something that God doesn't talk to me like that. Yeah, he does. It's just finding, or it's practicing and taking the time, and you can probably speak into this also, that you hear him because he is very much talking to you. So I love that you're saying these things because, yes, I totally felt, I know when he said, Eileen, the test is beginning. I know when he's told me, Eileen, trust in me. Like, yes, all those labels, they're not on you anymore. The whole royalty thing. I mean, gosh, this is what I love having guests like you, because you take like all that the general population knows about God is like such a tip of the iceberg. And there's so much more about God that is like there for the taking. So it's not in a shameful way. It's like, oh my gosh, like there's like literally like I hate to parallel, but like $1 million check on the table and we're just not cashing it in. That's just how it's like, and God is so much more than that. But I just love hearing you and hearing how you hearing God. So
yeah, when people ask me, how do you hear God? How do you hear God so clearly? The very first basic step is, do you believe in Jesus? Do you believe in God? And if they say yes, well, how do you know? How do you know that you're saved? It's not written in the Bible that Jessica is saved. No, it's not. Nowhere does it say written that you are saved. It tells you how you get saved, but then there's a knowing. That is the voice of God. And there's all different ways that you can do it. But if you know that you're saved, you have heard God. And so it's a catch-22. You can say you haven't heard God. Well, then how do you know?
Wow. Yeah.
It's always the great first step.
Yes. Okay. Before I go any further, like, what is up with the orange?
The orange. Yeah, it's a great story. It's my high school colors, and I was.
Wait, I had orange too. That's
Did you?
Yeah, St. Joseph's all-girls school in California. We were jesters. The
That's
weirdest
where
mascot.
I went to an all-girls school. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't. But I'll take your jesters. That's a pretty good mascot. That's a pretty good
I know.
mascot. But I know how much you love sports. So this is the most intimidating. We're actually in the top 5 of the best mascots in all the world. We are
Okay.
the Freeport Pretzels. When the pretzels come to town, come on. We got Pretzel Man.
No way.
Yeah.
What
Yep.
in the world? I thought jesters was bad.
Nope. Freeport Pretzels, baby. Woo! Represent. And I started playing basketball, and I got these orange shoes for basketball. And I was like, this is it. Like, this is me. And so I started wearing orange. My mom started feeding into it a lot, got me this orange Christmas tree when I was in college, really fed into it with all the orange ornaments. And then I started getting, into church and leadership stuff. And they're like, oh, you need to wear black and blue. You need to, present yourself like a leader. And so I did. And I'm like, this sucks. Like, who wants to live their life like this? Like, not me, not me. So somebody sent me a picture of this orange jacket at some store. And I was like, yes, yes. And so they
No.
bought it for me, sent it to me, and I put that on. And I'm telling you, like, there ain't nobody representing orange like I am. And the confidence level that I have with it, it's just like, boom, like, and then you know what? People just send me stuff all the time.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I thought it was something like majorly profound, something spiritual, and it's literally just because it wasn't like your school colors. It just kind of just went from there.
I
That's
used
crazy.
to I used to be like, man, I love telling stories. I think the best story is just to tell the truth. Yes, my high school colors.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I'm a pretzel, and a pretzel's not even orange. That's even crazier.
I mean,
I'm
it's cool though.
I'm gonna have to look for an orange pretzel. Okay. Okay, so let's get into. Okay, let's see how we touch on everything in terms of your story that you want to talk about, because a lot of what I would love to talk about is just this journey. I mean, I hear you, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, because I just started this whole entrepreneurship thing, I guess. It's weird to even say that. I don't know. One, I never cared for that word, because to me, I always think entrepreneur is like a risk taker and they're all over the place and all these things. And then I heard the definition of entrepreneur as basically a problem solver. So then I received that. I'm like, okay. So I am, you know, I mean, I'm writing books. I'm getting into the speaking world, the coaching thing, which I was like, don't want to do. It's in me. It's weird. It's like I knew it was in me and I'm stepping into it now. So I'm like in the beginning stages, especially after hearing all that you're doing. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm literally like a baby who's taking like step one. So, it seemed like I don't know. It sounds like it's easy for you. I'm sure it wasn't, but like stepping into this entrepreneurship stuff, like what were your biggest challenges? How did you go about doing it? Because we're now together in Kingdom Builders Academy. And so we'll maybe tap into that later. But yeah, like how did you step into this whole
Yeah.
entrepreneurship thing?
Yeah.
And then what you say is different from like what you did in church. I mean, is it like, because you had a church background? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like step into that too.
Yeah, I would say no matter what, if you're doing church, if you're doing business, any of those things, it all comes out of your purpose. Like, do you truly know why you're doing this? The most successful people in business and church and those types of things are successful because they have clarity on their why. And it's very important that you operate out of that place. That's really where my passion came from in the business realm, was because of taking care of my son took me to my deathbed. I was given 3 months left to live after caring for my son, and nobody would help us. I don't even know if you know that whole story. Um,
No.
yeah, so uh,
Yeah, I want to hear.
let's go. So after the divorce, one of our sons had some regression, after that, moving to your forever home and then that forever home breaking. And he had some prior abuse and mental health challenges before. And then the aggression started to kick up. And my ex-wife didn't really know how to handle it. She also didn't know how to keep her hands to herself. And so every time she would touch him, he would punch her. It was like, just don't touch him. Like, pretty simple. But no, she didn't know how to do that. And so I was in a deer stand in a cold December morning, and I get this phone call, and I get this phone call, and then I get this phone call. I'm like, oh my gosh, it must be important. So I answer it in this deer stand, and she's like, yeah, I'm done with Jacoby. I'm done. I'm like, well, what do you mean you're done? She's like, yeah, I kicked him out. Like, what do you mean you kicked him out? Like, he's 12 or 10, something like that. And she's like, yeah, no shoes, no socks, no coat. He doesn't even have anything. You need to go get him. I'm like, yeah, I'm 3.5 hours away in a deer stand. Yeah, that's not going to happen. And so she had to call the police and come find him, pick him up, drop him off back at her house. I picked him up the next morning. And for the next 5 years, we went on a journey, him and I. And the other kids went to go live with her because I needed to give him my sole attention. Ended up losing all my jobs that I had with that. I spent close to $100,000 trying to get us help because he had high functioning autism. He had physical aggression issues. He had the past trauma, and he was starting to act out in sexualized ways. And so all this help, all this 15 years in the social work that I had worked, all these connections, nobody could help us. And I lost all my friends, all my family. Nobody wanted to be around us. Nobody was safe to be around us. So the Lord told me to move. He said, dust off your feet and move, and I'll take care of it. And so I did. And it didn't happen. It got a lot worse. And during that time, I had 27 cameras in and outside of my house just to keep me safe so that the allegations that would come of me beating him or whatever he would do at school, but also that he started running away. It would take 6 or 7 officers to restrain him, and I would have to restrain him for 15 to 20 minutes before the officers would get there every single day. I never slept for 5 years, and it was just terrible. 3 years into it, we went to a place called the Amen Clinic, and it was in Chicago for us, Dr. Daniel Amen. And for the first time, somebody did a brain scan on him called a SPECT scan, and they test the neural pathways and all this, scientific stuff. And it just showed all this stuff and brought to light all the things that I'd been telling these professionals for so long. And then they said, well, we want to check you out too, Devin. I'm like, why? Like, I'm fine. And they're like, no, anybody who's suffered this long working with this child, like, we just want to check just to see. And she said, I, in 15 years, have not seen anybody that is currently still going through these issues with a scan like this. You're not going to make it another 6 months if he's not getting the help that he needs outside of your house. You can't do it. Like, your brain is going to shut down. I'm like, awesome. Wow. Cool. So you can come to court and testify that. She's like, yeah, absolutely. And so she came to court, testified, said it all. And this is what the court said. Yeah, you're in Illinois and we're in Iowa, so you don't count. So we can't take your testimony. Are you kidding me? Like, what? Are you kidding me? Come on. And so a year later, we've gone through all these struggles with my son, and I can say after 5 years, for the first time, I had made a mistake. And that mistake was I was cutting up chicken on the kitchen counter. I set the knife down, went outside to let the dog out, came back in. The knife was gone. For the first time, I had missed it. And I knew that he had it, and for 2 weeks he had been telling me how much he was going to kill me. And I had just given him the weapon to kill me. So I asked him, I said, Jacoby, you have the knife? Yep, and I'm going to kill you. I go, okay, all right. So called the police. They came. They said, well, what do you want us to do? Your job, go in and get it. And they said, well, there's not really an imminent risk. Like, there's more risk to us going in there. I said, well, you got 2 choices. You go in and get it, or I go in and get it. Either way, there's a risk. But what's not going to happen is him just keep the knife. Like, that's not going to happen. And I said, so I'm going to go outside. remove the problem and you guys can go in and get it and he'll give it to you. And so he did. They took him to the hospital like they did every other time, probably close to 50 or 60 times. I followed, went to my little room where I do every other time. And I'm standing in there and the lady comes in, the nurse comes in. So what happened next? Or what happened this time? The next thing I know is I wake up on a bed, on a hospital bed, and I'm shaking convulsively. And I have no idea what's going on. And the doctor said, oh, he's awake. He's awake. And I was like, what is going on? Like, you've been out for like a couple of hours. And we've tested your blood. We've tested all these things. We've done these scans. We don't know what's wrong. And all I said was, check my Amen Clinic file. And they had it on file because of Jacoby's stuff. And they did. And that's when they recognized that the trauma inside of my body had stopped my brain and my nervous system from communicating. And so it was like completely shutting it off. And they said, there's really like nothing we can do. And they said, you like have 5 months or 3 months left to live. And so we want you to go into a 24/7 treatment facility to get help. And I was like, wait, you want me to go into a treatment facility after I fought for 5 years to get my son into a treatment facility? No, that's not happening. And so I went and stayed with some friends. My son went to a shelter and got the help, started getting the help that he needed. And I literally would be up for 5 minutes having a conversation. I'd collapse and they'd have to move me back to my bed. That's how bad it was. And as I was laying in bed one night, I was just like, you know what? I don't even have a purpose left in this life. My son is getting the help that he needs. My other kids are living with my ex-wife, their mom, and they're fine. I have no job. I have no money. I literally have nothing left except for Dad. I mean, you can have it. Anybody who wants it, you can have that. Yeah. And I remember laying in bed and just like, God, I'm done. I'm done. Like, take me home. And I remember at that moment, it was in the middle of the night. I was laying on my back. My head kind of sat up, and I felt this presence, this peace enter into the room of this chaos of my life. And as I lifted my head up, I saw this, like, all I can say is it was like this silhouette come from around the base of my bed up towards my face, up towards my head. And I just knew that it was Jesus. And he said, Devin, it's not time for you to come home yet. He said, you have a story to tell, and it's going to change the nations. And I was like, nah, no thanks. No. And he's like, he says that if you'll do this, like, you'll literally be leaving your legacy. Like, your legacy is starting right now. And I was like, okay, all right. And then he said this word. He said, but. And I was like, oh, there's a catch. Uh-oh. And he said, you're going to go through the process. I said, no, I'm not. I'm not going. Nope. I want one of these.
5 years. Yes.
These miracles. Come on. And he said, yeah, you can have one of those miracles. But the amount of people that receive that type of miracle is very rare. The amount of people that you will be able to impact by going through the process because of the experience that you've gone through to walk them along the same path that you have been, just like we do with Jesus, will be into the millions. It's like, wow. Okay. And so for the next 4 months, that's what we did. We went on a path. We went on a journey. We went on this process of what it looked like to heal. And he deposited and showed me all these different things of how important it is to see people for who they truly are. And he showed me a couple of things. Number one, he said, I've deposited the Father's heart inside of you. I was like, well, what does that really mean? And he said, with your son, so many people called him a monster. So many people called him all these different things. Nobody loved him except for you. That is the true love of a father. That even when the world tells you to reject him, you didn't. Just like when the world told everybody to reject Jesus, the Father did not. And so
Mhm.
he told me that I've deposited the Father's heart. And then one of the biggest things that I was diagnosed with was the CPTSD, the complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And so what was happening is I'd go into a place, I'd immediately know where everybody was, where all the exits were. I couldn't be facing like a dead end or anything. There always had to be an escape route. I had to immediately grab all the silverware from the table, like all these things. I was so hyper vigilant. And the Lord said, I am going to take the things that the enemy meant for harm and turn them to good. And so during that 4-month process with Jesus, he taught me how to be able to turn what I was doing in the physical, that hypervigilance in the physical, into the spiritual. And so
Wow.
now, like when I'm around people, like I'm energized because I'm feeling it. I'm feeling all these things, but I also feel the negative things. I see things. I can see the Father doing things in different people and be able to speak like that prophetically way to people because I'm always picking up these different things. So what the enemy meant for death of me here is now life to everybody else around by what I get to
That's
do. And so that really like
yeah.
birthed this thing inside of me. And I remember Jesus telling me at that moment, and he didn't reveal this fully until a couple of months ago. And he said, you left the 99 to save the one. And I'm going to give you the 99 to go and share your stories with the nations. And I was like, wow, I'm really going to make a difference. Like my story really matters. And so that's really how I dove into this entrepreneurial world, like full time. Like I had no other choice. I had no other choice but to make this work, not because of all the accolades. Like these are great things. Who cares? What matters, like I said, is I am a father and I've given everything for my son. And that is the way that I just shared this for the first time today, is that my son, as well as coming home now after 3.5 years, he's finally coming home in 4 months to live back with me. He's worked through the process. He's healed. He's amazing. He's doing I'm so proud of him.
Oh,
And this is what
cool.
he told me over the weekend. He said, Dad, I want to start a podcast, because I told him I'm doing some podcasts and stuff. And he's like, Dad, I want to do a show. Like, okay, he's not like me. He's super introverted, doesn't like to talk, like nothing. And he said, Dad, I want to help other people. I want to help other people so that they don't have to go through the same thing I did. And I just broke into tears, because you talk about legacy, and Jesus told me that your legacy is starting now. You talk about legacy, like the thing that I'm building, the thing that God is doing in and through me, without even my son being with me, has been deposited into my son to want to now share his story and help other people not have to go through. I'm like, wow, like I can't even begin to understand that this is a legacy that I get to leave with my son and my kids, because my kids also help video edit, because teenagers, they know everything first off, but they also know a lot about editing videos and stuff.
Yes.
So, put them to work. But it's not just a thing for my family that I get to leave a legacy, but by receiving that Father's heart, it's everybody that I see, everybody that I come into alignment with. Like, if I can see your dream, your vision, the purpose that God has given to you, like, I know that I can walk beside you and we can make that baby come together. And so now it's not just like my family legacy, but it's all these different people that are together as a family. This is the legacy that I get to leave, and that I get to deposit the Father's heart into all these different people. And it all comes from doing what we're doing here, having a conversation and sharing our story. And so when you recognize and realize that the power of your story is the seed that gets to plant, that gets to grow, and that becomes a harvest for other people to pick, man, game over.
Have you ever felt like you're living in the shadows, watching life pass you by? Maybe you're drowning in the day-to-day, wondering if there's more to your story. I'm Eileen Noyes, and I'm here to tell you that it's time to step into the light. As women, we often put our dreams on hold, but here's the truth. You were created for a purpose, for greater than you can imagine. God didn't design you to blend into the background. He made you to stand out and make a difference. That's the heart behind my book, Rise Up Lady Bellator. It's a rallying cry for every woman ready to break free from the shadows and embrace her God-given calling. In Rise Up Lady Bellator, you'll learn how to uncover your unique strengths and talents, break through the barriers holding you back, and step confidently into your place of purpose. Ladies, it's time to armor up and answer the call. Your battle cry awaits in the pages of Rise Up Lady Bellator. Get your copy today at ladybellator.com/books. That's LADYBELLATOR.com/books. Remember, you're not just any warrior, you're a Lady Bellator. Rise up and claim your purpose. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this, you mentioned the father's heart. Like, just understanding that, and totally, it's like, oh, no wonder, like I said, there's such a tenderness, especially in a man. There's a tenderness, and there's like, I felt it. Like, as soon as I met you, it's like, man, this guy is like, he just has the love of the Father. It's crazy that I didn't even know that. And I think too, just knowing what I went through and just the legalistic spirit and this, the religious spirit that was so strong, that's my heart too, is, Lord, through all that junk, I felt such a strong presence of how he fathered me and how he parented me. And it was such a contrast of, like, I mean, I was part of that too, where it was just a lot of obey, and discipline and spanking. And those are all part of it, but it's not all of it. And there was just, as time went on and yucky teaching got in, I lost the grace of God. I saw there was no mercy in our home anymore. And so that was what God had helped me with, not only identity, but really like seeing his heart for me. And for me, when I think as I parent, I'm like, I want to reflect you, God. And so there has to be a lot of rewiring and things like that. But just this process that you're talking about, man, it's not fun, but to whom much is given, much is required. And so I see that on you. I love having you as like a mentor, a guide, one who's going before me. So I may wear more orange now, but I like, all this is so great because I know that as I've been sharing my story. So in my world, again, I'm with the pro sports. It's so crazy. I have to say, and you didn't know this, but I did an episode a couple weeks ago. It's Healing and Freedom. Then I did an episode with this other guest, and she does healing work. And so then hearing you, it's like, oh my gosh, Lord, you totally had all this like sequence. Like, he's just good. So it's just fun like that. Okay, so as we're getting into this, and wow, time is flying, I want you to share all that you're doing now. Like, yeah, I would love for my audience to hear all that stuff.
Yeah. So 6 months ago, September of 2024, I got invited to do what's called a Kim 10 talk. It's a kingdom impact message in 10 minutes. It's a Christian version of the TEDx, because TEDx, you can't talk about God. Who cares? So I got invited to be able to share on this stage, and it's such an honor. And I asked the Lord, I said, so what is my Kim 10? And he said, he brought me back to that day. And he said, remember when I told you that you gave up the 99 to save the one, and I was going to give you the 99 to share your stories to the nations. And I was like, yeah. So what does that mean? Okay. Obviously I'm missing something here. And he said it slower. And he said, I said, I'm going to give you the 99 to share your stories to the nations. I was like, oh, you're going to give me 99. Okay. And I'm like, 99 bottles of beer on the wall. I'm like, no, not that. And he said, I want you to start your legacy project. Okay. Sounds cool. He said, you're going to help 1 million people share their stories across media. I was like, whoa, no, that's a lot of work. No, thank you.
Yes.
And he said, this is what I meant by your legacy starts right now. And so that's when he started depositing into me that there's this opportunity that people struggle with telling their story. They don't know how, or they don't know why. They don't know how to frame it. They don't know how to craft it. They want to share it, but they don't have an audience. Who knows how to put stuff up on MySpace anymore? I mean, there's always all these different
Yes.
struggles, And so the Lord said, Devin, you know how to do that. And so what I did is I put together this platform called Stories to Stages. And what we do is I give you an entire boot camp of how to craft your story. I give you an entire framework of my stories framework. And what that does is you're going to walk through step by step on how to craft your message, how to craft your story, and how to have a mic drop ending and to draw people in so that whatever your ending thing is, if you want them to come to know Christ, if you want to sell something, if you want to get them to do something, they're going to be able to do it because you're doing it in the right way. You're going to learn how to show up on camera. You're going to know how to do podcasts, how to talk from stage, how to be able to talk virtually with people. And all of that is just to break down the barrier of the fear of what it's like I don't know how to do that. Well, now you don't have an excuse because I'm giving it to you. And then after that, I'm challenging you to record your story and send it to my team. And all you have to do, hold your phone up. Yep, orange phone. Hold your phone up and you can record. You can sit in front of your computer, whatever that looks like. All you need to do is record it. And then you send it to my team. We edit it. We put an intro, we put an outro, we put all the graphics together. We give you all types of promo material. And then we publish it across all of our social media platforms. And all of that is so important because now you don't have an excuse at why you can't tell people your story. And this, I believe, is what Jesus was showing me that it's not just about my son and leaving the legacy with him, but it's about everybody. And so storiestostages.com is where you can go to be able to do that, to be able to partner and to be able to share it with other people, because legacy is not about me. Yes, I may be the face, I may be the person at the top of sharing this in front of people, but without each of you guys, without each of every person that I talk to sharing it, that's what legacy is really about. And that is why you writing your story and getting it out there is the most important thing you can do in your life.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Awesome. Okay. So, did we cover everything? Because I want to make sure people can get a hold of you on this. So you're going to get all the websites, all the things, like how to connect with you. Right.
Yep. Storiestostages.com. You'll see everything that you need there. You can follow me on Facebook. Just look up Devin Schubert. You'll see a man in orange, and that's basically me.
So good. Like I'm still in awe. I'm still, honestly, especially, I think of a couple things. One, when I talk to men, it's different because I can ask one question and a girl can go, she can go a long, long, long time. And so, so with you, it's like you're long, but you're not totally long. And so that I get, I kind of get stuck. But okay, I'm trying to think if I've covered everything. Well, what were your biggest challenges with all this? You shared a lot. Like business-wise, what were your challenges? Like,
yeah. As pro athletes or business owners or ministry people, as entrepreneurs, like you didn't like to say, we're really we like to run and we like to go really fast. Like we know we can do it. Just give me something and let me run and do it. I did that when I first started. I ran as fast as I could. I was one of the fastest people inside of our Kingdom Builders. And I was blowing people away until I couldn't anymore. I had no structure. I had no way of reproducing anything. Everything that I do is pretty much organic. I talk to people. This is how I grow my audience. This is how I grow my tribe, because I want to have real interactions with people. But I did it so fast that I went to hire a team, and it was like, well, what are you going to have your team do? Well, they can run my Facebook. Well, they can do my emails. Well, what are they going to say? I don't know. I literally wake up and I say something. I literally have a conversation. I just have a conversation. I have no structure. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just really good at talking to people because I care. And so the biggest challenge for me business-wise was to actually slow down enough to build it so that it was scalable. Who cares if you can earn $1 million in your first year if you never make another dollar after that, or if you're so burnt out you want to quit? And so
Yeah.
my thing is make sure that while you're building it fast, that you have the structure to be able to build it and to be able to scale it along with you. And I would say another thing is make sure that you have joy in what you're doing. I did a couple of business ventures, and I'll tell you, I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I did stuff behind the scenes, and I was like, I got to be I got to talk to somebody. Like, just staring at my computer, not talking to anybody is not me. Like, I just can't do
Wow.
it. I made six figures real quick. In one Facebook post, I made six-figure income in 48 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then I hated it. I absolutely hated it. And so after 6 months, I was like, done. I shut it down because I couldn't do it. I lost my joy. I wasn't doing my purpose. And so make sure that what you're doing, your why. Why are you doing this? How we kind of started this whole podcast out. If you don't know why you're doing it, stop. Figure out, remind yourself why you're doing it, and make sure that that is what's driving you. Because if you lose focus on that, you might as well quit.
Yeah. So glad you said that, because like I'm like you, I have that drive and determination. So he's talking about Kingdom Builders Academy. So we are part of this organization, and, you know, coaching is a highlight, although they talk about all the things, the writing, the speaking, all that stuff. And I just want to go. And I feel like I don't know. I feel that just with previous things I've learned the last couple of years. So stepping into KBA, I was like, okay, I've done that. Let me keep pushing and go fast. But I realized, okay, one, this is a process. Process is everything. That's where you become great at whatever it is that God is calling you through. That whole instant thing, as much as we'd love that, the trials are where, that's why God says, count it all joy when we fall into various trials. The trials is where the magic is, in the sense of what you have and what you give to others. But just it's a whole thing about process. I've learned to just be okay and say, okay, God, am I doing what you're calling me to do? Am I doing the things? Because no, I'm not being lazy, and no, I'm not just praying and waiting for all these things to happen. No, I'm doing the steps, and I'm taking, I'm following, my SSM's advice, and just being teachable, and then trusting God in this process. Just like, okay, I would love it to be faster. I would love for the money to be here now, but I've gotten this from someone else. I don't want to blow up so fast or be too big for me to handle, just like you're talking about. So love that you're saying all that. Any closing thoughts? You're awesome. I love, you see all the stress of the DMVs, like, I have to go pick up my kids. So yeah, let's just close this up. So thank you, Devin, again. Yeah, just being here. But yeah, let's just close this out.
Yeah, no, I just want to praise you for who you are, what you're doing, the stance that you're taking. And I just want to encourage you to, you have a confidence about you that is contagious. You have a joy and a love about you that's contagious. And I just want to encourage you and the listeners to confidently fail forward. Like, you're going to fall, you're going to fail, you're going to make mistakes, but get up and move forward again. And I just see you being this mother figure. I know you are a mother, but you're a mother of influential people. Like, you're a mother figure not because of a status by any means, because of the heart that you bring to an atmosphere. And you have this atmospheric ability. Like, when I say atmospheric, it's like you walk into a room and you can shift it by just walking in. And I see the Lord just highlighting these opportunities in front of you. It's like he's laying out the red carpet for the kingdom of heaven. And you're walking and you're creating this path of the red carpet for all of your listeners, for all the people that are following you, the people that you don't even know are following you, that are watching your every step. They may be critiquing it, they may be judging, but they're watching. And they're watching you walk on this red carpet. And it's like, there ain't nobody going to stop me, because as long as you stay on this red carpet, it's like you are on the yellow brick road and you're just skipping with the Wizard of Oz people. But you're walking down this so confidently. And I just see like the Lord just pushing you from behind, and he's pulling you in front, and Jesus is walking right next to you. And I want you to be able to leave with that visual image of who you are to all of your listeners, that you are the Jesus with skin on it for some of these people. And you're imparting the love that you have and the things that you've gone through to be able to encourage them and to be able to invest into them and to be able to pour into them what you have. And so your listeners, you guys are blessed to be able to have her, to be able to follow her, and to be able to do all the things that she's recommending and the people that she brings on here. Y'all, you better buckle up and you better get ready to soak it in, because you're going to need to expand your sponge, because she's going to fill you up.
Devin, you're amazing. Thank you. I totally received that word. I love that you tapped into the prophetic, and that's, I want to be unashamed to be able to share that with our audience, to be like, hey, there's, like I said, so much more. So thank you for that. Love you, brother. Guys, please find out. I would love for you guys to share your story. So please get connected. I'll have all that information there. But Devin, thanks again for sharing your time with me. Love you, brother. Love the orange. I think I'm going to wear this all day. I'm good.
Love you too. Thank you.
All right. Bye. Until next time, love well, celebrate your strength, and discover the new things you are capable of. You are a light in the lives of those around you, and no night is too dark for you to find your way.